open. Chicago with the lead.
Batista with the catch.
Oh!
LeBron James with no regard for human life.
Hand down, man down.
Yeah, I can see how disrespectful he's being right now.
No, I went to Temecula and brought you some dirt.
Yeah, that's a technical.
Mama, there goes that man.
Welcome back to The Bounce, brought to you by Bite Size Sports. I am Kev. With me, as always, are James and Keebler. Fellas, it is a very busy night of NBA news, but before we get into the injury updates, the All-Star reserves, let's check in with our brethren. James, we'll start with you, sir. How are you on this Thursday evening?
I am fantastic, Kev. Fantastic, man. We've got 27 threes in the Lakers-Celtics game for the threes and promotion on DraftKings, so we're happy. We're happy right now.
Oh, shout out to that. Nice. Well, that's probably a great segue into Keebler. Good evening, sir. Any money you got riding? Any bets yet to get started you want to share with the folks at home?
So between our two teams, the Pacers and Knicks that are currently on, the Knicks are down 8, but I didn't bet on the money line tonight because we have so many people injured. I didn't know how it was going to go.
A lot of guys out there.
But I took Brunson for 30. He's at 29. I have Hartenstein for 10 boards. He's at 10. Halliburton for 10 assists. He's only at 5. I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to get 5 assists in the last quarter. I had Josh Hart for 5 assists. He's only at 1, so I don't think that's going to happen either. But I took Obi in his return to MSG for 9 points, and he's at 12. Siakam for 19. He's at 14. Miles McBride for 8 points. He's at 5. And then Siakam already got 5 rebounds, and Andrew Nembhard already got 4 assists. So that's kind of what I'm riding tonight. But with the All-Star Reserves news, I had a bet with this guy in a Knicks group chat, $100, I said that both Brunson and Randall will be All-Stars, and he came through and paid the bet with that. So very happy.
Oh, yeah.
You never
Winners
see
win,
that.
Keebs. Winners win.
Big win for you. Congratulations, by the way. I know there's been a lot of back and forth between our fan bases, most of it caused by Wally Szczerbiak over the last year. But I, for one, am a big Brunson fan, big Randall fan. James can vouch for this. I'm a fan of all of those baby Lakers, from the Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, even poor
Josh Hart.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Former summer league stud Josh Hart, right? He was and also who am I forgetting? Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
Yes, all those guys. Big
You said
fans of
Lonzo?
all of them. Yeah, Lonzo. Yep. So excited for your boys there. We will definitely be getting into the All-Star reserves, talk about any potential snubs. I would be remiss if I didn't say hello to the folks at home. We've got some folks watching, whether you're watching with us on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, or Twitch. We can see you. We can see your comments. So if you have any thoughts tonight on some snubs, if you thought your guy should have got in, let us know. Or if you're watching the action, we will, of course, keep an eye on the Thursday night games. We will, as always, preview the weekend in the NBA on our way out as our final segment. But we'd love to hear from you. So any thoughts you have about the NBA news? There's some unfortunate major injury news we'll talk about tonight as well, and some interesting takes on some potential trades. And then, of course, James and I are going to have our hearts broken when it comes to the Chicago Bulls. But you let us know what you want us to talk about right here on The Bounce. Your question or comment may just make it on screen. So, guys, what would you – little dealer's choice tonight. Do we start with the hot news? Do we start with the All-Star reserves, or do we start with Joel Embiid's knee? What do you guys want to start with?
Oh, I thought you were going to say start with Ben Simmons' knee.
Oh, Ben Simmons. Oh, you know what? Let's start with Ben Simmons' knee. That's great. I had almost forgotten about that one because of the late
Yeah,
entry.
you almost forget he exists. folks.
Well, he comes back, drops a casual. What was it? A triple double? Did he just miss a triple double?
I think it was like 8, 10, and 9 or something like that.
Yeah, he just
Let's
missed
pump
it.
the brakes on it a little bit.
And
Great
unfortunately,
return.
now he'll be out for.
It was a blowout win for them, right?
It was, yeah.
So obviously he is the difference maker over there in Brooklyn when they've been looking pretty bad without him.
And instantly, did you guys see immediately Dorian Finney-Smith and I can't remember. They've got players. They got everybody honestly on the block. I've seen Nick Claxton.
They have like a ton of like good role players, but no like stars except for Mikal Bridges, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is why like a guy like DFS, the Mavericks are rumored. I've been rooting for that personally for a while now for those two to be reunited. But yeah, you're right. They've got just a ton of players who would be very valuable to teams that are actually going to the playoffs this year, but not really going to work out for Brooklyn. So, yeah, Ben Simmons, happy for him to come back. Very unfortunate already after one game he's out, but I don't want to make too much of it. Had to make my
unfortunate career.
Had to make my little joke about him being out for 6 more months, but in all seriousness, I hope he returns. Why not? I don't have that much hate in my heart for Ben Simmons. I just don't want to see him get another fan base's hopes up again, only to start passing out of gimme wide open layups in the fourth quarter of a very important game.
I've been off the train for a long time. It's time for everybody else to.
I've been riding the train a little. I've been riding the train a little too long. I'm still a Ben Simmons believer personally, but
yeah. His jump shot's more broken than I don't even have a good reference.
Joakim Noah
leg when he snaps.
Would shoot like this.
Yeah, he can't shoot. He can't stay healthy. He played one game and everybody's like, oh shit, he's back, and all of a sudden he's gonna be out for the next 2 months again. Like, when do we accept it is what he's a bust?
That's exactly what happened. The last time he came back, he hit a turnaround jumper and swished it, and they were like, ooh, look at this, Showtime Ben Simmons. And then 2 or 3 plays later, he clanked one, didn't even hit the rim, just hard slammed an 8-foot jumper off the backboard. And it's like,
I wouldn't just call him. I just think that the potential is definitely still there, and he's been an all-star, but he just needs to be available. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, the best ability is availability.
Availability. Mm-hmm.
All day, it. So before we dive into the big story, I actually like this. I like where this is taking me, because I did see, speaking of injured players, we have a trade, gentlemen. Did you hear about the Grizzlies Rockets trade?
It just happened. Yep.
I did see that.
Yeah, so I'll start, and then I'll hand it to you, Keebler. We've got, from what I know, Steven Adams going to the Rockets for Victor Oladipo. Is that correct? Were there more pieces to that deal?
Victor Oladipo and 3 second-round picks.
Whoo! 3 second-round picks. Nice. That's almost like getting Dave and Buster's money or something, right? What's the equivalent to me? Well, actually, no. The Rockets' second-round picks, maybe they would be like mid to early second round. I have some faith in the Rockets, especially next year. So I don't think they're going to be I think they're probably a fringe playoff team next year. To me, a late second round pick might as well be monopoly money most of the time. Like, you're not historically, there's no value there. That's just I don't know, to be future pieces. Those are just like future add-ons to other trades. But how do you feel, Keebler? I'll hand it back to you. How do you feel about that trade?
Well, I was reading a little bit about it, and it's very smart for both sides. For the Rockets, you get a guy who's been one of the best defensive and rebounding centers in recent years. So you give Sengun like a mentor to learn from in that. And then when you're with the Grizzlies, you're also getting 3 second-round picks to get more draft capital. you're getting Oladipo, who the Grizzlies aren't going anywhere this year anyway. So why not just see what he can do when he's not injured? And they're also freeing up cap space so they're going to have a good draft pick this year, which is going to be high, most likely, along with financial flexibility to put a piece with Ja, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. So I like it a lot for both sides. I think that it holds a lot of value. Excited to see Steven Adams come back when he's back from his injury, and then hopefully be able to mentor Sengun to be like a more physical player.
Yeah, I don't hate that. James, what are your thoughts, man?
I agree with everything he says. Like 3 seconds seems like a lot, but like you said, it's
fool's gold. Sounds like a lot.
Coin flips, and it's a 7-sided coin, and there's one side you can hit.
Yeah,
it's a Dungeons and Dragons die, and you got to roll a 1 out of 25. So I find it odd that the Grizzlies are jumping out of him. Like he was really good for them last year. I think he was a good piece, but obviously he's out all year. Interesting to see a guy that's out for the season get traded like that too. Thought that was kind of odd.
That is very odd, and it does. I know, I'm just going to basically reiterate a lot of what Keebler said here, but I think it works with everyone's timeline. The Oladipo thing, I don't know. That almost just feels like a salary dump for me. That why not? As Keebler said, they're hurt. It's an extra body. Press X to doubt on my end that Oladipo stays healthy for the rest of this season. Unfortunately, I wish him the best, but his history is not on his side in that regard. But Steven Adams coming back next year, the Rockets are a more serious threat to be in the playoff hunt. I think next year they might be there this year. I think they're a bubble team currently, or they're right there, but. I always call the play in the bubble, and because that's when they instituted it first, right? Was in the bubble, so it's always stuck to me. I always call them a damn bubble team, but anyway, or maybe it's the NCAA tournament that did that to me. But I don't mind. I like the timeline for the Rockets with Steven Adams, and with the Grizzlies, I think they just want flexibility to make off-season moves. So whether it's to move up in the draft or to try to add someone, because I think they like I'm not going to call this a big three, so let's call it a core three of Ja, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. I think they like building around that young core. And so for that, it makes sense because, like I said, to me, second-round draft picks, those are assets for trades. There's really no other value that they have. They don't have a lot of value once it's draft day. But, yeah, they sound good in a trade. So I think this means that they'll be doing some things in the offseason to try to rebuild around that young core.
It's funny when you call the core three, my mind instantly jumped back to when people were calling Derrick Rose, Courtney Lee, Carmelo, and Joakim Noah a super team.
Courtney Lee, love that. That's like a deep cut on an album,
Yeah.
It's another 2K assassin, though, Courtney Lee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All you need in 2K is the jump shot, and he had a good three.
Man, that dude could fill it up. So, I had the last time we were here, guys, I had a much nicer look at that. I just had it up right here. Embiid dropped 70. That was the last time we were talking about him. Well, it's not as good of news this time as the Embiid injury, which caused a fine because they didn't report it properly.
Correct, yep.
Coming into the Nuggets game, which was at first what I thought was going to be the main topic. I was like, okay, we're going to talk about this tonight for sure. Now it has come out, though, moments before we went live, maybe about an hour, that Embiid has a torn meniscus. Now, guys, I'm not an expert when it comes to this, so I may need some help with the timeline, but my guess is at best he could return at some point in the playoffs, but it sounds to me like Embiid is going to miss a good chunk of time here, so I wanted to see what you guys thought about this and what it means for the Sixers and how they might approach the trade deadline with their best player hurt. James, we'll start with you this time.
Disappointing, I think, is the biggest thing I think of. He's another guy that's been hurt quite a bit in his career. So you come off an MVP season just to come back. He's missed a lot of games already this year because you've seen the Twitter posts and memes about he can only miss X amount more games before he's ineligible for the MVP award. Just disappointing. It sucks.
The first one he actually deserves.
Right. Would agree. You're not going to hear me disagree with that. It sucks, man. It's disappointing. It sucks for the league. They were a pleasant surprise considering none of us really saw Tyrese Maxey exploding like he did. And Maxey's been out a little bit too. And now can they weather the storm? They haven't given a timetable on his knee injury, but, meniscus can be anywhere from 2 weeks. They cut it out to, 6 weeks. It's all over the place.
That's a little better than I thought then. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was like 3 months personally.
No, when I had my meniscus repaired, it was 2 months. When you just do a meniscus by itself, you can go in. It's not like you could go in and snip it out, like just cut it out, and it could be like 2 weeks. But the long-term ramifications are like knee replacements and arthritis and shit like that. It's not good long-term, especially not for a big man like that. Like you want to get it fixed, which is usually like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
That's not
if there's nothing else. If there's nothing else.
Yeah, if there's nothing else. Okay, well, we'll work with that assumption for now. And with that in mind, Keebler, I'm going to kick it to you here for a second. Considering we're going to, let's just say about a month. That's somewhere in between, right? So no Embiid for about a month. Do you see the Sixers doing anything to add to their current roster to try to stay high in the rankings, but by the time they gear up for this playoff run?
So I'm going to talk from the perspective of if I wasn't an Eastern Conference team fan. So I don't know. They've been playing really good basketball even with him out. Like I forgot who they played the other day, but they didn't have Maxey or Embiid, and they were still just balling out with like the next man up mentality. So if they keep performing like that, I feel like they shouldn't really need to make any moves or try to jump the gun because teams are going to know. The 76ers are going to lose a lot more if they try to make a move because teams are going to know, oh, you're desperate to make a move. Okay, give me this. In like that kind of sense. So I don't really see them making a move. I think that they'll just ride the ship. But if it has any seeding implications and things like that, that's where my Eastern Conference team fan would start to come out. But no, brutal injury. I feel bad because, like I said, this is the first MVP that he actually should have won that he's not going to get. So it kind of sucks.
Yeah, personally, I don't know that I'm a fan of. I hadn't really thought much about the regulations, the rules for being eligible for these end season awards. Didn't seem like a huge deal to me at the time. I don't think I love it, especially in the modern league where load management is such a big part of the game. But as far as the team goes, I tend to agree with you. I don't think they'll make any major moves, especially hearing the timeline that James laid out. When I first heard this news, I thought, oh, wow, if he's not going to be back until right before the playoffs, they might need a little something to help sustain where they are throughout the rest of the season. But one of the reasons they've been as big of a surprise is, the hell that James Harden put them through. And, they're losing such a big piece, and they didn't get – they got some very solid role players really back in return is what they got. And so maybe I think where the Sixers might look would be more in the buyout market after the trade deadline would be honestly where I expect them to be pretty active if all things stay the same and if Embiid is out, because I think that's somewhere maybe they can find someone that's affordable to help add some depth to the roster. Someone that would still be worth playing a few minutes at least in the playoffs. Yeah, another PJ Tucker reunion. That honestly, that might happen.
It's gonna be a bidding war between the Suns and the 76ers.
The Bucks
war
get
for
in there.
0 points, 2 rebounds, 1 block.
The Bucks are gonna need some toughness. Maybe Doc Rivers wants PJ Tucker.
The Doc Rivers era started off with a bang. He had Dame Lillard throw the ball in on last night, knowing they were going to foul down 3. And
gee, do we have that tape? I wish we had instant replay.
Having money on the Bucks, that was just terrible.
Yeah, like what the F? Like,
now,
oh man,
I didn't think it was going to be this bad this quickly, but guys, if you want to know,
maybe they can start. They get rid of him and spend for 4 coaches by the end of the season.
Check out last week's episode if you want to hear our thoughts. But not everyone here is surprised. Although, I mean, honestly, I'll take that back. I'm kind of surprised. I thought it would. I actually thought they would start out pretty well just by having that new energy in the building of having a coach that they like and all that. I thought it was going to take a while for that shine to wear off, and the Bucks would collapse at least in the playoffs. But no, it's started off very rocky for them.
Yeah, it's bad out the gate.
I still don't understand dumping your coach when you're like the 2nd seed in the East. It just makes no sense. But
yeah, like I want to pull up their record real quick just so I can. What do you have? 13 losses or something like that?
Yeah, I believe he was 30-13, maybe 31.
So he was.
I think 30 and I think it was a palindrome, like the same forward backwards. So I'm pretty sure it was 31-13.
So they've lost 2 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was 32-14. How many games has Doc coached? 4?
Something like
3,
that.
2?
At least 2.
I don't think they've won a game.
They've lost 2 in a row. They've lost 2 in a row, so that would make sense.
They had
so he would have been
one of those games that was neither coach, because I think Griffin.
So it might have been 32. It
might
have been 32-13.
I think Griffin got fired on a game day, and so they probably just had an assistant coach. And I don't think Doc was hired that day, but I could be misremembering it. But either way, he had 30+ wins, 13 losses, gets fired. While you're already paying the last coach, who
that coach in the playoffs during his brother's death. Would just like to say that
exactly.
Yes.
Who's got a winning record and historically would say, he's won a title. He took that. Remember that Atlanta Hawks team he took to an Eastern Conference Finals? Like, are you kidding me? Budenholzer's a good coach. I'm sorry. And you fire him because he struggles against one of the best coaches in the league, if not the best, while his star player has a hurt back, and while he's dealing with the death of his brother, and then you get so infatuated with Nick Nurse and speculation here. Okay, I just want to be clear about that, but theoretically, you get so infatuated with Nick Nurse that your team backs Griffin, who they don't actually want. It's just that you're so set on someone that they all agree that they don't want, that they're like, all right, well, let's put our support behind this guy. And at least that way we'll get out from Nick Nurse, which confuses me to this day. Because at one point, Nick Nurse was the hottest.
I thought he was getting the job.
On the block. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that too. And so what could have happened in those 45 games or whatever, most of which they won, by the way, that could get him fired if it's the struggles of Dame Lillard? Well, newsflash, guys, when you add a guy like Dame Lillard to a guy like Giannis and a team that, for the most part, has played together for a long time, and then there's a lot of turnover all of a sudden, well, guess what? It takes a while to build that chemistry back. It takes a while to figure out what your teammates like to do when they don't have the ball, where they're going to be in these situations, get familiar with the playbook, all that good shit. So it was way too early, in my opinion, to hit the eject button, and they're getting almost instant karma again. Then you're bringing in the tactician that is Doc Rivers. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. Doc's had one hell of a career as a player and as a coach, but what have we been watching? What gets him fired every time?
Playoffs, boys, playoffs.
Not making adjustments in games. The very same thing you just fired Budenholzer for.
Yep.
I'm glad it's not my team. The Pacers had done this. I'd be done for the year. Tapped out. No dice. Meanwhile, I'm begging for All-Star ticket. Have you seen? God, man. You think to yourself, guys, sorry for the tangent. You think to yourself, oh, the All-Star games will be in Indianapolis this year. That ought to be affordable.
No, it's not.
No, it's not, dude. It's crazy. Nobody in that state can afford that. Are you kidding me?
Hey, speaking of Pacers and affordable in Indianapolis, Keebler, look at the score.
Uh-oh. Are they coming back on us?
I took us
The
plus
Knicks are up.
I took us plus 124 when we were still down.
Shit. Nate is in the chat. What up, Nate?
Nate has made it.
I got the Cavs. I got the Cavs when they were down like 5, and I got the Knicks together, and I threw like $8 on it, and it pays out 27.
Nate was one of 6 people at that game
Celtics
today.
without. Yeah, Nate was probably one of 6. Lakers are up 10 on Boston without LeBron or AD, right?
Yeah, no LeBron, no AD.
I'm hesitating putting money on the Celtics right now. I'm really hesitating it.
I'm confused.
That brings us to another topic I wasn't really anticipating talking about tonight, though, guys. But
I was just saying before you say
go
that,
ahead.
Can you tell your point guard to start passing the ball, please?
He's taking the night off, I guess.
The guy that averages like 12.7 assists, like that guy, could you tell him to like start like getting more assists?
I wish. Andrew Nemhard's taking all of his work tonight. Nate corroborating my story. 1,300 on the secondary market for All-Star tickets to Indianapolis.
Stupid.
Get you some Pacers fans.
Stupid.
Meanwhile, to go to any other game, you can get a seat for like $17. Oh, and Nate saw the bumper, and so now Miles Turner to the Lakers.
Delete this comment, please. Delete this. I kid comment. Delete, Nate. Delete.
We still got to do that episode soon, Nate.
Nate, there was a comment. Something texted me today about talking about some big race, some racing thing that I need to message you about since you're watching.
He posted it in Discord too. It's in our NASCAR channel on Discord.
It came from Jeff, and he might want to talk with you live on it. He goes, Jimmer, tell your racing pod guy we got to talk Lewis going to Ferrari. It's the biggest driver transfer in the history of the sport. Nate, so if you want to do NASCAR, Jeff is the wild one, is interested in talking with him.
Lewis Hamilton went to Ferrari?
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, yes.
Oops, my bad. I forgot. You're on it.
So, Nate, if you want to talk on the pod, you get the old NASCAR one out. Jeff is willing to join you, I think.
Let's do that, man. Hey, happy to set that up.
They probably threw him a generational bag.
Maybe we can get our dear friend and driver of the Bite Size Sports iRacing car, David Westergreen, on that pod too. Boys, we are all over the place. We've been on iRacing trucks this year. We were just in another race last night. We're part of the Lake Norman team this year. I got to get like a slideshow or a video. We've had so many different versions, especially last year with the Thursday night football picks. We've had so many different Bite-Size Sports race cars that at this point
we have had a lot.
It has earned a montage. I think it needs some kind of video display, but I digress. Despite the fact that there aren't currently any Miles Turner to the Lakers rumors, no whammies. I did see an interesting one today from, I don't want to call it a random Twitter account, but it's a local sports journalist on Twitter with about 2.7 thousand followers who has, if I can find the tweet, I will pull it up, but he not that long ago correctly guessed or claimed he correctly sourced that Kawhi was going to sign with the Clippers instead of the Lakers way back when. And today he tweets that his NBA sources are telling him that the Lakers are actively looking for trade partners for LeBron James prior to the trade deadline. And then people started to mention, LeBron and AD both out tonight. Maybe there's some truth to this. What are we thinking here, Keebler? I'll start with you. Are we pressing X to doubt on this? Do you believe that the Lakers would move on from LeBron James in the middle of this season?
Well, that's my glorious King LeBron. I would hope not. But outside of that, I mean, it would make sense for them to move on from LeBron. In my opinion, he's still a top 10 player, so you can get a nice return for him, even if it might be a rental. Just wanted to throw that in there. But I would
Yes, Nate.
I would think a team would offer them a nice package, given how I don't know. On one hand, you can get a top 10 player, or you can wait in free agency, hope that you get lucky in the draft to get his son, and then just sign him without losing any assets. So, like, there's that one thought. But at the same time, like, something has to change, and he's been on the record being like, "Oh, I don't really have anything to say to my teammates. Just play better basketball." Essentially, I don't know if you saw that clip or not. I don't know.
I did not.
I don't know if I'm taking it out of context. And then a reporter interrupted him, and he was like, "Thank you for interrupting me," because I was about to go off. But
I love that guy.
I still think he's a top 10 player, but I really don't know if a team should pull the trigger on it, unless it's a team that really needs a boost, like Golden State or something like that. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Nate had asked if there is a no trade clause in the NBA. Yes, sir. That is definitely a thing.
He probably has.
So,
say every team, given how he lives in LA and.
Exactly. Yeah, so he would have to agree with any trade. Lee thinks they should change coaches in Lakerland instead. Now, that kind of expands this little conspiracy time, because did you guys see LeBron tweeted an hourglass? I think it was about a day ago. And at first, a lot of people thought that meant Darvin Ham was getting fired. But now, today, after this new tweet, they think it means LeBron is – that cryptic tweet was about him getting traded. So,
I would
James,
love to get back on the Cavs. I would
love to see – him back on that young Cavs team would honestly – I mean, I would hate it in my Pacers division.
Yes, but I would also. But I would hate it from a Knicks perspective, but I would love it from like an NBA fan perspective.
100%. Yeah, James, what about you? What are your thoughts on that? You think it's the coach that's going to leave, or will it be LeBron?
If you're going to choose Harmon over LeBron James, even at the end of his career, and his contract's up this year, like, by all means, do your fucking thing. Go ahead. Like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this league, but. And I'm not siding with that guy over LeBron James. So,
yeah, Darvin Ham, I don't think has done enough to earn.
I don't even know what I just said. I don't even know what I called him into Darman.
No, that just illustrates your point even better.
No.
That Marvin Dam guy. Yeah, I would be picking
Marvin
him over
Dam
there. For what it's worth, I am having my doubts. If you had asked me which coach should have been fired between Griffin and Darvin Ham, if you said, "Hey, Kev, a coach got fired today, you can pick between these two," I can tell you that I would have guessed Darvin Ham would have been who I'd guess would have gotten fired. But I am, speaking of pressing X to doubt, that's what I'm going to do when it comes to this LeBron trade rumor.
Mhm.
I don't think it's happening. I mentioned this to you guys in the pre-show. Not that I think Rob Pelinka is going to consider these things, but the owner of the Lakers would consider these things. The sheer amount of money that they likely make off of just his merchandise and having him there and adding to his totals on the Lakers record book, like that probably has more value to them than some of the young assets that they could potentially acquire in a trade, because let's be honest, it's not like the rest of that roster is rearing to go. It's if they move off of LeBron, are they also moving off of Anthony Davis? And at that point, that's a complete rebuild. You're back to the post-Kobe era at that point. You're back to
Square one.
Yeah, it's looking like something out of Fallout at that point in your arena after that. So I doubt that. I think it makes more sense that they would hold on to LeBron for as long as they could, because for as long as he's been in the league, it's meant that whatever team he's on has a shot at the NBA Finals. So that's what I'd be doing. I don't know if there's Darvin beef. Welcome, John, by the way. Happy to see you here. Bite Size Vike says, is there Darvin beef? We were just talking about that old Hourglass tweet. And maybe there's beef. Maybe LeBron's being traded. We don't know. But what we do know is that LeBron was the captain this year, again, of the All-Star team. They're back to the East-West thing, boys, which personally I much prefer. But this day isn't about the starters. This is just more of a reminder for those of you who maybe haven't seen it, because today the reserves were listed out. I'm going to read them to you, I guess. We've got Bam in the East. We've got Bam Adebayo, Paolo Banchero, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson. Yeah. Tyrese Maxey, love seeing that one too. Donovan Mitchell and Julius Randle. On the west side, we have Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards. Then we got somebody in the chat happy about that one. Paul George.
I for Anthony Edwards for the GOAT agenda.
Right. Kawhi Leonard. And as much as I would like to snub him, I had to remove the banner there so we could see Karl Anthony Towns, the final Western Conference reserve. I will say, guys, it was not Domantas Sabonis. Here's an unrelated graphic. Just going to leave that up here on the screen for a little while. Let you decide who you think the All-Star is.
But Sabonis didn't have a 64-point game
that they lost. I hate it. Now I'm admittedly a homer here. Domantas, he might have moved on, but he'll always be a Pacer in my heart. Honestly, the Kings are just my second team, I guess. I just love me some Kings.
I feel like if these LeBron and Anthony Davis injuries are substantial enough to keep them out for the All-Star game, that Sabonis and Sengun should be their replacement.
That's another good one as well, which kind of takes me into we can kind of blend these two topics as we talk about the guys that got picked. Any other big snubs that you saw? James, he just mentioned Sengun. Anybody that stuck out to you as a big snub?
We talked about Sabonis. We talked about Sengun. De'Aaron Fox's probably got an argument, averaging 27, 4, and 4.
Yeah, I was surprised. That was kind of the sentiment I saw.
team.
Was like, not even one of them. Like, one of those two guys isn't an all-star. That's kind of odd. And I'll pull it back up just so the folks at home can have sort of a live reference point as we talk about this, because as always, if you're going to play the snub game, you have to talk about who shouldn't be there. And
For him, wouldn't it be one of the Clippers guys? It's got to be one of them, right?
Yeah, if we're talking about a guard.
Not Curry, not Edwards.
I think that Paul George should not be on there, personally. I feel like that was a bit of popularity contest right there, and I don't think Cat should be. I think both of those should be Sengun and Sabonis.
I wouldn't be mad about that if you don't care about position. I agree. And you factor in
Yeah.
that stupid fan vote. The fan vote matters for so fucking much, man.
Yeah.
Agreed. Not a big fan of the fan vote, pun intended. I don't disagree with your take there, Keebler, on getting rid of George and Cat. Now, for me, it would be Fox and then probably Sengun. Because to me, position-wise, you would want
if
a
it's-
guard
if
to
it's a
swap out
position thing,
George.
Well,
And then
both-
I'm a
both
coin
were just
flip
technically
between.
front court. Well, like they only base it front court.
Oh, George is technically listed as a front court player, right? Do they have?
Yeah.
He's not listed as he's not a shooting guard anymore. I forgot back in the Pacers days when
Then
he was
then
only
it's fine,
6'9",
But
used to be a
one
shooting
thing
guard.
that I hate that's about to come out of my mouth is I think Trae Young kind of got snubbed a little bit,
Whoa.
just a little, and it pains me to say that, but he is averaging like 27 and 10. So
He-
I don't know who I'd put him above,
yeah,
but I feel
what's
like he's-
there?
maybe over Jaylen Brown. I don't know. Tyrese Maxey's been hurt a little bit,
He's missed a few.
but I don't know. I feel like Trae should be in there.
Oh, by the way, sorry to interrupt. Nick's up 5, 49 seconds left. I feel like that's about to be
'cause
over.
Precious Achua and Isaiah Hartenstein are combining for 34 rebounds.
24
Mother.
points, 34 boards, fucking 16 offensive rebounds. They
Josh
both have
Hart also
8.
has 12 boards. So between three guys,
Yep.
you guys are allowing 46 rebounds.
I hate all of that.
Jalen
Very
Brunson had a
frustrated.
night. I had Josh Hart in a bet, no double. He has 12 rebounds.
I
3
was gonna-
points, boys.
I was going to take him over 13 rebounds plus assists. But
You'd
for
have
that,
it, bud.
but you can only take that in a straight bet, and I didn't want to do it in a straight bet. So,
Oh yeah.
like, you can't do it in a same game parlay, which was kind of annoying. Because I was also going to put Brunson for 40, but I'm kind of happy I didn't if he doesn't score two more
He's
points.
got 38 right now. And if he gets fouled here, you could get it.
Yeah.
Missed 2 free throws.
So the counterpoint that I have to the Trae Young potential snubbing, because I could theoretically see that, but if I'm going to be devil's advocate, if I'm going to make a counter argument, when you look at the Eastern Conference reserves, the lowest rated team in the rankings that has a player is the Magic with Paolo Banchero, and they're 8th in the standings right now,
The Heat
and
are
they're
above
2 games over 500.
Maybe
Say
I'm-
what?
Maybe I'm sleeping on the Heat a little bit. The Magic are below the Heat now.
Oh, yeah, they're tied 25 and 23. Yep. Sorry. Okay, yeah, so tied. But then you've got the 20 and 27 Hawks. So I'm wondering, and
Yeah.
I
Bobby
always,
played a little bit into it.
yeah, I'm a big proponent. I've made that argument a lot where like someone has to score on a bad team, and I believe I've seen the Hawks live this year. They're a bad team. Multiple teams have had historic nights against this team defensively, and that might be part of the reason that Trae Young averages 22 a night is because they're giving up 140 a night, and he's getting a lot of opportunities in there. From what I've seen, fairly inefficient offense. But I also wonder. I kind of see that on both sides as I look at this. There really isn't any representation from losing teams on either All-Star team this year,
Yeah.
is there? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll pull up the starters here.
The
But-
media played a lot more into it this year. They did lower the fan vote percentage, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, there is not a single player from a team that's out of contention. I don't necessarily hate that. I personally, can you guys think of anybody who's just a stud on a losing team this year that's getting completely overlooked? Because personally,
Let me
I
look at the
can't.
Let me look at the standings real quick.
Let's see.
It's not an MVP vote, so to me, I don't think it should matter. Honestly, if your team's bad, again, it depends. Like there is a little bit
DeMar
of inflation.
DeRozan is averaging 24, 4 and 4, but it's
The
not
one thing I'm surprised about with how much the media sucks him off is how Victor Wembanyama didn't make it. But I'm not mad at it at all. I don't think he should be one. I'm just surprised that given how good he's been playing down this recent stretch, he didn't somehow sneak in there. But that makes sense given how they're 10 and 38. Kurt Curry made it. The Warriors are 20-24.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Yep.
That was one
Oversight on my part. Yep.
Ja, if he didn't yield guns around, then he'd probably have made it.
Well, if he got hurt more so than anything. He's out. Yeah.
But he also has missed at least 25 of their 47 games. So that makes sense. Sengun didn't make it, which that's the 11th seed Rockets. Lauri Markkanen didn't make it.
Yeah.
He was also hurt a little bit. Theo Pinson didn't make it. No, I'm kidding. But
wait, huh? We talking about 2K again? Lee says Thunder best in West and no Holmgren. I wonder if that if he were on the bubble. I guess the bonus for us fans is are they still they're still doing the Rising Stars, right? So he's still going to be around for the weekend, which I don't know, whatever consolation prize that is. But I can see that as I don't know when I think about as a snub. I don't know who I would remove from the West team for Chet.
Probably no one. I don't think. I take back. I think Wemby's now I think he's positioned himself to be Rookie of the Year. So if there's no room for Wemby, there's not really room for Chet either.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, agreed. But yeah, so luckily we'll still have some experience of them. Anybody else, guys? Any other thoughts on the All-Star team or the All-Star game in general, them going back to East-West? Like I said, I love it. The only thing they need to do now is go back to wearing their own jerseys. And honestly, they should all wear throwback jerseys.
The Rising Stars game, that's USA versus World, right? So we might still get to see Chet versus Wemby if that's
that would be great. Yeah. That's a good format. I like that one a little bit better than the rookies versus sophomores that they used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, some rookie classes would just be much better, but just generally speaking, you got guys who have a full year and a half of experience versus a bunch of rookies like that. Just
Scoot Henderson, who's got to be in his third Rising Stars game and his fourth next year because he played in the G League, so they let him play those 2 years in the Rising Stars game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he's poor guy. Rising Stars. If you're a Rising Star 3 years in a row, I feel like at a certain point
there should be a 2-year limit. There's a max limit on it. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on Perkins? Heat should do right by Jimmy Butler and trade him to a contender take.
Stop it.
Bring him home.
You sound stupid. You're sounding stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my thoughts are that Kendrick Perkins at some point came to understand that bad takes were making him money, and that the only reason he continues to have a job is because he has enough bad takes that go viral like this. Because he doesn't add any value. He didn't add any value on a basketball court outside of the occasional rebound. He was just a very big person that could foul people, occasionally get some rebounds. Early on in his career, you could have argued when he was still in shape and he had some athleticism that he was a decent defender and rebounder. But no, Kendrick Perkins he's just an internet troll that happened to be one of those guys who was the 15th man on an NBA roster for several years. Again, because he's 7 feet tall. He got a lot more opportunity. The 6'1" guys that suck, they don't stick around in the league. But when you're 7 feet tall, you can suck for a few years and hang around. And unfortunately, when you suck at sports takes and you exist in a world where there's the undisputeds, there's the first takes, there's the debate shows, and Twitter is a thing, you can actually just monetize your shit takes. And that is why we get to deal with the likes of a Kendrick Perkins on a daily basis. That's my humble opinion. And this just illustrates it. Trade him to a contender. We're talking about the 8th seed team that went to the NBA Finals, right? Am I forgetting, guys? Am I having a stroke? Did I get Mandela affected into
took out the 1
universe?
seed on their way? Yeah. No,
oh yeah, that team. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Sorry for my Kendrick Perkins rant. How do you guys feel about it?
exactly the same. Like trade him to a contender. Like I guess the only team that was better than the Heat last year in the playoffs would be the Viking or the I said Vikings. Sorry, John. Would be the Nuggets. So I guess he's got to go to Denver, huh? I guess
No.
there's one team he can go to.
Known basketball franchise, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, the Minnesota Vikings.
Who? Yeah. Did that?
He
Did
has
that
a Heat life,
illustrious NBA analyst give any options for those contenders that he felt Jimmy should be traded to?
No.
I know one that he would fit right in with.
Is it Minnesota again? Because I don't know, that didn't work so well.
No, I think there's one on the Upper East Coast.
They seem to be linked to on this show. They're linked to every available good player in the league.
Yeah, but they're looking for a power forward. We're looking for a small forward. You know what I'm saying? So maybe get Julius Randle down to Miami. Put Precious at the 4. Who would score on a rotation of Brunson, Josh Hart, Jimmy Butler, Precious Achiuwa, and either Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein?
They would go to the finals,
nasty.
and it would be like 2003 or whatever when it was the Nets Spurs, and it was like 84-77 in the NBA Finals.
Yeah,
and no one watched. No,
but we got snipers now. Like, oh, speaking of snipers, Jalen Brunson is in the 3-point contest. He accepted an invite.
Nice.
Ooh, look at this, John. Let it be known, Lee has requested trivia. To my knowledge, Lee, there's no trivia tonight.
Wanted one. Fans wanted one.
But we got to let him know, especially since he's here in the chat. We got to let him know that trivia was requested. It is fun. I do enjoy doing that. Even on nights when John can't come in to read them, we can find a way to have him submit like a short form of it.
If he puts in the chat and puts it, and we just leave it right there.
Yeah, we can do chat trivia too, John. You just let us know. You've got a little bit of time left. We should have mentioned it to you earlier, but we give you a chance for next week if you want to do chat trivia. But gentlemen, what else in the league tonight? Obviously, we know that the Knicks took down my beloved Pacers, despite Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner dressing like villains. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton looked like Wesker from Resident Evil tonight. I don't know if you guys saw him, but
just a small 15-point comeback. Nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I hate it, especially when it's the Knicks. But what else happened around the league? I'm going to pull up the scores here, but you guys got anyone you shout out?
When I made that bet, I didn't realize that Halliburton was on minutes restriction, so I should have.
Yes, he's on a minutes restriction. You've got Lakers beat the Celtics without LeBron or AD. That's a terrible loss for the
Celtics. Are minus like 1,300.
Yeah, Austin Reeves at 32. Good for him. They outscored them in every song. I think. I was going to say them. Cavs up 2 against the Grizzlies right now. 4 minutes left.
I need that to hold.
Pacers lose. Then I need the Cavs minus 2.5. So let's get. We got Jazz 76ers late game. Hasn't started yet.
That's going to be a rough one. The Sixers, I mean, on top of Embiid, there's Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, and DeAnthony Melton all out. So actually, wow, okay. According to the worldwide leader in sports, which unfortunately is not Bite Size Sports yet, it is
not yet.
Allegedly. I don't even know that it's ESPN. They still claim it though. That might just be like a name they had trademarked. I don't think it's factually accurate. But anywho, the alleged worldwide leader in sports has an estimated return date for Joel Embiid of March 14th, gentlemen. So that's about 6 weeks. That's exactly 6 weeks. Yeah. So
act like I've done this before. Like I've had this surgery.
James is like, well, how long was I out for that again? Yeah.
Act like I've.
Dude, it was like when Anthony Richardson had the shoulder. I was like, guys, I got this one. This one. I know it.
Or last year when Steph popped his shoulder, and I go, oh, I know what that is. I've seen that one before.
Been there. All
I've never
right.
seen that.
So I need to get a weekend preview pulled
Weekend
up. Do I
preview.
not? I think it is about that time, gentlemen. Before I do, shout out once again to everyone who has tuned in live. We appreciate you all very much for doing so. We are over the 600 mark in subscribers. I don't know if we ever formally celebrated it here. So shout out to all of you guys. Thank you very much. Be sure, if you're watching or not subscribed, to go ahead and do that. Not only do we have live shows Tuesday night, Thursday night, we've got also the pay-per-view pre-shows that we partnered with through Carnage Media. So if you're into fighting, you'll get free fights on Saturday nights occasionally. And Lee's got a question for us. He says, why bring Embiid back at all this year? Let him heal completely. Guys, you got any thoughts on that?
Because they're going to slide in the standings and then get bounced in the playoffs, and then Embiid's going to force a trade to New York.
Again, another guy linked to the Northeast Knicks.
He wants the Knicks. James, what do you think?
With the meniscus, it's not an ACL, MCL, anything like that. 6 weeks is enough time to get that thing healed and ready to go, and he'd be right around the playoffs. Right
For
before
a guy
the
his
playoffs.
size, though?
Yep, that's all. He's got problems long term with it, but that's long term problem. We don't care about that right now. They are currently
He's a
fifth
gamer.
in the East. I mean,
7 games
essentially,
out of first.
Yeah, 6.5 games out of first. They have 17 losses, same as the Knicks, but the Knicks have 3 more wins.
Yeah.
5 games ahead of the Pacers.
No.
4.5. 5 games ahead of 7th place. Like, there's enough there that with the team they've got, they can hold off and hold in the top 6 there if they need.
Did it update though? Did it take into account that Pacers lost tonight? Or
I think so.
Yeah, it's probably more now.
7, 21.
I'm
This was 20. Yes, it is. Yep, it is. Yep.
All right. Show's over. Go away. No.
The show must go on.
And it will go on as we look into the aforementioned weekend, fellas, gentlemen. Let's check it out here.
Yep.
We've got our.
I want to
Friday's
talk
slate.
about.
Can I make this bigger for everybody?
Real quick, I want to talk about last weekend because I was really excited to watch the Nuggets and 76ers, and 15 minutes before the game is when the 76ers announced Embiid was out, and that was really stupid.
Well, they did get fined for it.
I was going to say
Or
they got
they did.
investigated for it, right?
Yeah, they got in trouble for that shit. But
Since you were personally wronged, James, do you
I
feel
was
that
personally
the
wronged.
do you feel that the fine was sufficient, or should they have been punished further?
I don't even know what was the fine. I saw they got fined. I don't even know. What
$75,000, I do believe, but let me
it
check.
was. Don't matter.
Oh, so you're talking
check
about
my
this,
stores.
you're talking about just a few Embiid jersey sales?
Yeah, they don't give a shit. That's nothing. It needs to be more.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Yeah, it was $75,000. So
That's stupid. No, it's
That's
not
like-
enough.
I would have
to
fined
that franchise, they're like finding me like a five spot.
Yeah, it's like
Probably.
a $5 bill. Probably worse for you because you probably don't carry cash, so you have to go find it.
Ooh, yeah, they're getting a lot of change from me.
Mm-hmm.
I would have fined them like $200K. He hasn't played in Denver since 2019. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's a wild stat. Mhm.
it's like ducking playing in Denver.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's probably the altitude.
That, and he's just scared of White Hart.
Joker.
Also, yes, yeah. Well, doesn't he play against the Joker at home? I think it's a combination of
Home
two.
court advantage edge or whatever.
Yep, because he's got the home court advantage edge. But yeah, so not only is it an away game, but it's an away game in the Mile High City.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know necessarily that it's the same as it would be for football or baseball players when they're actually outside. But yeah,
Still pretty bad. Like it's still a thing.
so maybe this whole meniscus is fake. Maybe he's just really
really
wants to
scared.
dodge it.
Really scared of the Joker.
Well, as a Pacers fan, I'm a little scared of that Friday night matchup, but as an NBA fan,
That's
it
a
might be
fun-
the game
yeah.
of the night, boys. Sacramento
That's it.
versus Indiana. Keebler, Keebler, I said it. What sticks out to you first?
I'm looking through right now.
I feel like my order game was off tonight.
I'm liking the Raptors Rockets if everyone's healthy. I know IQ and RJ have missed the last couple games, but if everyone's healthy, I think that'll be a good matchup. Trailblazers Nuggets is interesting if they rule Jokic out. I know he missed last game. If he's out for that, I feel like that could be interesting.
Especially with the hunt Ayton's been on, dude. We were dogging him last week, and ever since I made fun of him in Discord, here have been his recent results. Where is it? I gotta find this here.
Those would probably be my 2 games that I like a lot.
Last 5 games, 20-11, 18-6, 22-12, 20-12, 18-17.
And you made fun of him. Here we are.
Yep, it's the bounce curse.
I'm a max player.
I like it, though. Thank you for those 2 picks, Keebler. James, what about you on Friday? What are you looking at?
The Kings Pacers is very fun, and then Orlando Minnesota is a lot of fun for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know you like that.
You know, my love for Orlando.
You know, of course, I'm sticking with Sacramento and Indiana, and one that I think I would keep an eye on, but I mean, I'm not going to sit and actually watch it, but I will watch the highlights of New Orleans, San Antonio. We'll see what's going on. We'll see. We'll see how Wemby matches up with that front court. But let's move on to Saturday. It's a lighter slate on Saturday this week, fellas. This time we will start with James, because I have a feeling I already know what Keebler's game of the day is. So, James, what about you? What are you looking at that you like on Saturday?
Mine's probably going to be the same if LeBron and AD play LA at the Knicks. Like, that's a fun game. Milwaukee at Dallas is good too.
I will not be moving from in front of my TV for 3 hours.
Yeah, will not be able to get a hold of him.
Lee says after the Laker win tonight, watch them lose to Detroit. Is that Friday?
Probably.
Is that? What are they on?
They're not. They don't play him, but that'd be hilarious.
Oh, that would be. Yeah, watch them lose something easy like that. That's
a throwaway game.
Hasn't that been Minnesota's Achilles heel recently? They've been beating good teams and then losing to the bad ones. Like their last 2 losses are against like Charlotte and Portland or something like that. I can't remember. But Saturday for me, Milwaukee Dallas could be very cool. I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'll be able to pull myself from that Sacramento Chicago Bulls matchup to watch any of the Lakers next game, but I'll see if I can. We'll give that one a view. Keebler, outside of the marquee matchups, is there anything else catching your eye? How confident are you in your boys taking down the Lakers on Saturday?
Pretty confident as long as OG plays.
Why was he out tonight?
Right elbow inflammation. He's missed like the last 2 games, I think.
Playing too many minutes, Tibbs.
That tennis elbow, dude. Tell me.
Tibbs just isn't trying to use it because we're a little light right now in terms of roster. But I think OG should play, Grimes should play, Randall won't, obviously. Mitch won't, obviously. And then they might be down AD, LeBron, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, and Gabe Vincent. So I think that we could easily get our 10th win in a row on Saturday.
Ooh. Yeah, I would say so. Any other games you'll be throwing any money at on Saturday?
Let's see. I'll be throwing money on Net 76ers, Hawks Warriors, Kings Bulls, Bucks Mavericks, and Cavs Spurs.
All of them.
I love it. That's good. Well, hey, you can attend that Lakers Knicks game. Tickets are as low as $325. So,
fuck that. For the playoffs last year, that was the cheapest playoff ticket. I'm not going to go do that for a regular season game.
Dude, I used to brag about Pacers tickets. Look at this. At Charlotte, tickets as low as $6. At Oklahoma City, tickets as low as $5.
Yeah,
when the
courtside's
Raptors
probably
come
like
to town.
$25. Not actually, but compared to MSG,
My-
they're probably $25.
My God, I'm gonna get season tickets to one of these places. It's about the
Yeah, that's the
price
only
of a
reason.
steak dinner.
That's the only reason I wish I lived in like a San Antonio or a Cleveland or whatever, because you can just get season tickets for mad cheap.
Yep.
That is a bummer about being in Columbus. Is like I have 3 NBA franchises, all pretty close to me, but they're all 2 to 3 hour drives. Like it's just far away enough for me to be like, yeah, not season ticket worthy. Not gonna go, watch them all the time. But as far as this one, I'll start with Sunday. How about that? Sunday
Before you
is
jump into that, the cheapest courtside ticket for the Knicks Lakers game on Saturday is $3,600.
Woo! To watch the Lakers backup team come into town. Could you imagine paying that?
That's insane.
Oh my God. I mean, at least you'll be on the television, I guess. For whatever that's worth for you. I like the 6 p.m. game here. Clippers at Miami. I think Houston, Minnesota could be a fun one to watch as well, but they're kind of overlapping there. So I'm going to stick with those 2 as my 2 go-tos. What about you, James?
Same exact 2. You can tell we feel the same. Same exact 2.
Keebler, you're up, sir. What are you looking at on Sunday?
Bucks and Jazz.
Ooh.
With how good the Jazz have been playing and how bad the Bucks have been playing, I think the Jazz sneak one out at home there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Nice choice there. Thank you, fellas. That is the weekend preview. Now, a couple of quick hitters on the way out before we tell them all where we can find them. James, I cannot get out of this episode without talking to you about this, because you may be as heartbroken as I am to find that the Bulls are once again not blowing it up this year. They are determined to keep their core pieces, and I don't even have the words to express myself, because I've used them up so many times. I can't even say it all again anymore. So what are your thoughts about the Bulls letting it ride?
Double face palm. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, at least the Raptors finally did it. Like, stupid.
And
enjoy purgatory.
To paraphrase the legendary Rick Pitino, Michael Jordan ain't walking through that door, man. So I don't know what you guys expect to do.
So stupid, man.
DeMar DeRozan deserves better. All right, I'm saying it.
Not to throw more gas on the fire, but footballs do bounce. So I just wanted to make note of every team has now filled their head coaching position, and 2 guys are left without head coaching jobs: Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Vrabel kind of surprised him. Belichick, to be honest, does not surprise me. Yeah. I don't think the way he interacts with his players is conducive to the modern NFL. I think that he only was able to get away with that for as long as he did because they kept winning, and because Tom Brady was there buying in and leading by example. And once he lost Brady, I think he lost more and more games, but I think he lost the ability to command that respect from his locker room. And that's in New England, where he's won all those Super Bowls. No, first of all, the Atlanta Falcons would have zero self-respect if they even hired Bill Belichick. How are you going to hire? You're going to sign him for $28.3 million? Is that what you're going to do too next? You're just going to rub it in your fan base's face even more? Watch the guy who ripped your heart out ruin your future by not, no, he was never going to get hired. In my opinion, I think it's time for Bill Belichick to be done. But Vrabel does surprise me, if I'm being honest. I thought he'd land somewhere.
The Giants are looking for a defensive coordinator. Just want to throw that out there.
Vrabel DC's somewhere for 1 year. Ryan Day shits the bed again at Ohio State. And there you go. He's going to be.
Vrabel might sit out this year. I've heard a lot of rumors that the last 2 years were tough on him in Tennessee. He's considering sitting it out.
I could imagine. I know just by talking to you, James, and some other AFC South fans, I know how tough it's been on a lot of people who just root for the Titans, let alone I couldn't imagine dealing with that owner as part of my job. Jesus, poor guy. So, but I love that as a friendly reminder that they do bounce as well, because if it were football season, we'd have definitely been checking in. I think I still have the banner somewhere, the NFL update.
Oh, I'm sure we do.
There it is. There it is, baby. Yeah, see, of course.
There's an football update.
As always.
It was always the Nuggets.
The Super Bowl's next Sunday, right? Because it's usually 2 weeks.
Yep. All right, guys. Last final topic before we get you out of here. I saw a tweet that had either an AI graphic or a Photoshop that had Kyle Lowry in a Lakers uniform subbing in, checking in, standing next to Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And it said, and I quote, "What do you think about the potential Lakers' next big three?" Two-part question. One, how would you feel about Kyle Lowry to the Lakers? Two, how in the hell is that a big three? Keebler, I'll start with you.
How the fuck are you going to want to get rid of D'Angelo Russell and bring in Kyle Lowry?
Russ had 13 assists tonight.
Yeah, like.
My God, dude.
Like Lakers logic just makes no sense.
None.
At all. The front office knows what they're doing, but the fans who want to get rid of D'Lo and bring in Kyle Lowry when D'Lo's been on trade rumor, D'Lo is one of the best players I've ever watched play the game of basketball. And it's mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling is correct. It's if you want the ghost of Kyle Lowry, go ahead, folks. This ain't 2000 and whatever 19 Raptors version, like whatever version won the title.
Yeah, to be honest, Kyle Lowry ain't walking through that door. I don't know who is, but it ain't the guy that you think it is.
Put him in a wheelchair and push him in.
Yeah, be closer to Mike Lowry of Bad Boys.
Yeah,
right?
Jesus, criminy.
And I don't know if that dude could hoop or not, but no. And then that, to me, tweets like that are what perfectly encapsulate Lakers fandom on Twitter, at least, where they're just everything. The world revolves around them first, and any player that's rumored to be going to the Lakers is instantly a superstar if they go to the Lakers. And then if they end up going somewhere else 2 weeks later, you'll see that same account be like, "This dude's so ass," and it's just, man, oh boy, I sure hope there are a lot of bots in Lakers Twitter, because otherwise, I don't even think I ever want to visit that place. Never going to catch a game there. Just based on Twitter alone. Sorry, Lakers fans. Sure, I'm making a lot of friends with this outro segment, but it is at least an outro segment. So, Keebler, we will start with you. Any final words for the folks at home, and where can they find you when you're not with us?
Final words. The Knicks are winning the championship. Where can you find me? Right here.
Oh, I hope that doesn't happen. Although the content will be good for this show. So, James,
I would rip my shirt off on stream and start twerking if the Knicks ever won the championship.
Oh yeah, if the Knicks are in the finals, we'll be booking a post game stream, even if you're only on it for 5 minutes. And then you're celebrating. James, what about you, sir? Any final words for the folks at home, and where can we find you?
I've got nothing other than it was always the Nuggets. You can catch me guest hosting every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. on Necessary Roughness. Keebler joins, Nick joins, Nate joined this week, talking a little NFL. I think there's rumors of a Super Bowl preview next Tuesday. I think Trey posted something about that. I'm not sure exactly. It was Go Niners, please. Go Niners. I can't deal with another Chiefs win.
Let's go.
And you can no, sir.
I have
to
be the only one right from Necessary Roughness.
Yeah, you're the only one that picked them. Otherwise, you can catch me and Kev every Wednesday night talking Star Wars. We are working our way through the Bad Batch right now. We finished episodes 1 through 8 last night. We're going to do 9 through 16 next Wednesday. Come on down, join us. We got some great fans. So there's a lot of deep lore cuts going right now. So come and join us. That's every Wednesday at 9. So someday I'll talk about the Titans again, but I don't really want to right now. Just don't want to.
I know how that feels. You won't catch me talking about the Colts on Bite Size Sports this week, but you will catch me doing it occasionally. Other than that, you can find me where James mentioned Wednesday nights at 9, talking Star Wars on Dweeb. Thursday nights right here on The Bounce. I might make it to that Super Bowl preview on Tuesday, Necessary Roughness, because last week I missed. We had our 100th episode of the Clout Route. Very happy about that. We have just kicked off season 5, so you can find me and Danny hanging out on the Clout Route Tuesdays and Sundays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. You can also find me on Carnage Media and right here on Bite Size Sports Monday nights at 8 p.m. on Carnage Unleashed, where I get to host my favorite little segment and a growing podcast on Carnage Media, the Wrestling Minute. So if you're into keeping it kayfabe, come hang out with me on a Monday. That's it, guys. No more ad reads from me. We made it. Funnily enough, this is another one of those where I thought, this might only be a 45-minute episode. And boom, a solid hour and 13 before we hit our ads. Thank you two so much for joining me. Thank you in the crowd for joining us. Clearly, it's time for me to tap out. I need some sleep, but we appreciate all of you. Hit us up in the chat, and we will see you next week. Please enjoy this word from our sponsors. Good night.
Sports.
Are you looking for an energy boost without the jitters? Let our friends at Dubby Energy help you with their fantastic selection of flavors. Just visit www.dubby.gg and use the code BITESIZESPORTS at checkout for 10% off your order total. Again, that is www.dubby.gg. Code BITESIZESPORTS.